and welcome back to Chocolate Tomatoes.
Oh,
Woo!
woo!
And today we are reviewing the movie Holiday Heist. I have my co-host, Cousin Kim. Hey, Cousin Kim.
Hi.
How
Hi.
you doing today?
I'm well. How about you?
I am doing good. We're
Okay.
excited to get into this movie today, aren't we?
Yes, we are. It was a good movie.
Absolutely. So before we break down Holiday Heist for you all, let's talk about what we drinking on today. Drum roll, please.
Woo.
So what you drinking
Okay.
on?
I'm drinking on alcohol since we're doing movie reviews. I'm pretty sure everybody knows about the movie or remember the movie Holiday Heart. So I call this a Holiday Heart.
Ooh, I love
Yeah,
that. Is
it's
that
all
rosemary?
festive. Yes, with cranberries and a little rosemary to reap. Yes, so Holiday
Yes,
Heart.
ma'am. I am drinking an eggnog daiquiri with a sprig of rosemary as well.
Nice. You have to give me that recipe. That sounds
Absolutely.
delish. Yes.
Mm. And this is delicious, girl.
Yes.
Look, I'm gonna send you one over your way.
Please and thank you.
Say, look, let me get one more sip of this real quick.
I know, right? Me too. Cheers.
Let's break down this movie for you all. Hopefully, y'all are sipping on something as well. The way that this is going to work is we are going to give you a background on the movie, where to watch it and everything, and then we're going to go into our preliminary review. This is before the spoiler, so if you have not seen Holiday Heist, we're just going to give you our chocolate rating on it, and then we're going to go through some preliminary questions that do not spoil the movie. And then we're going to go into the juice part of our segment today. And the juice part will have all the spoilers. So at that point, we will tell you we're going into the juice, and to log off, go watch Holiday Heist and then come back and watch the rest of our video to see if you agree with what we're saying. And if you do, or even if you don't, let us know down below in the comments your thoughts on the movie Holiday Heist. Girl, why I keep wanting to say Holiday Heart?
I know, right? Maybe because of my drink.
It's
I know,
really,
right?
Holiday Heart. But
Yes.
yeah, so let's get into some background on this movie. So Kim, give us a little background.
Okay, this movie, as she stated, the title of this movie is Holiday Heist. You can go view it on Tubi. Stream is being streamed on Tubi. This movie came out this year, 2025. The director is the one and only Roger Bob. The writer is Miss Angela Burt Murray, and you have three main characters in the movie. And the first main character is Shaylee Rose, who is Jade. She plays the character Jade. Then it's Tobias Trevelyan, who's Devin, the love interest. And then it's Jade's father, who's played by Philip Edward Van Leer. And his name is Robert Sr. This movie is based in Chicago during the wintertime, Christmas, of course. And basically, it's just about a three-generation Black-owned business. And, you know, all the woes, the pros and cons and woes of having a business. So, yeah, let's get into it. The movie was good, so let's get into
All right,
it.
so before we give you all our chocolate rating, if you are watching this for the first time, I'm going to pop this up on the screen for you all. We have hot chocolate. That means it's in the rotation every year. It's a very good movie. You would recommend this to anyone, and they wouldn't be upset if you recommended this. They would actually put it in the holiday rotation themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then we have sweet chocolate. That means it was a good movie. It might not be in the rotation every year, but it's recommendable. And then we have semi-sweet, which means that you would recommend it. You don't think anybody would be mad, but it's not like hot chocolate. Like it's not something that has to be, in the movie rotation every Christmas, right? And then we have bitter, which means skip it all together. It was a terrible movie. Don't worry about watching it, right? All right. So now that we've gone through the list of chocolate ratings, Kim, what is your chocolate rating for Holiday Heist?
My chocolate rating, I was going back and forth and teetering between sweet chocolate and semi-sweet. Parts of it for me was definitely sweet and parts of it was semi-sweet. But overall, I'll say sweet chocolate. And then later on when we discuss, I'll tell you what parts I felt like was the semi-sweet. But overall, I'll give it a sweet chocolate.
Yes, I was thinking that as well. I'm like, I wonder, should this be sweet chocolate or semi-sweet? I'm teetering on the side of sweet chocolate as well. If I had to give this movie an overall rating, I would say this was a good, watch. And I agree. I'm wondering if we both picked the same thing about the semi-sweet, why we would say semi-sweet watch, right? So,
Yeah.
but I feel like if we did recommend this to somebody, I don't feel like they would be mad. I feel like they would enjoy the movie.
Not at all. Not at all. I don't think they would be mad. I don't think it would feel like, oh my gosh, that was a waste of time. Whatever, like over it or whatever. But this is definitely a movie that you can watch with Bay, with your boo,
Absolutely.
your Bay, your significant other.
I will say that you brought up the point where you can watch it with Bay. This is also a girls' movie as well, so it could go into either
Absolutely.
category.
Absolutely.
That's what I like about this movie as well. It could go into either one. So let's get into some preliminary questions. All right.
Okay.
Okay. So how was the acting for you in this movie?
That is one of my semi sweets. I'm not gonna lie. It started off, as a sweet. I'm like, oh, okay. Like I said, within the first 7 minutes, it started off like a sweet as far as for the acting, and then as it veered on, I was like, okay, semi sweet for me. And the reason why I give the acting a semi sweet is because I felt like how dancers when they're counting like 1, 2, 3, and then you could like literally see them counting in their head, trying to
Yeah.
remember the steps. That's how I felt it was with their lines. It was almost kind of
Mhm.
like, even though no one did this, but it's almost like they was looking in the top of their head. It was like, hello, hi, it was kind of like that. So
Yeah.
I give the acting a semi-sweet. I'll give it a
Mhm.
semi-sweet. Yeah,
Mhm.
mainly because, like I said, you could tell, lines were being rehearsed and going over in their head as they were delivering them. It wasn't just like, smooth, like, just having a conversation.
Just
Yeah.
having a conversation.
Yes,
Ooh, we're gonna
yes,
get
yes.
into that in the juice part, right?
Yes, yes.
All right. So
And
how do
you?
you um the acting I felt like at times, and it's
Mhm.
only with one particular person for me, and we'll
Okay.
discuss it in the juice as to why I
Okay.
think that kind of brought the movie rating down possibly to a
Mhm.
semi-sweet
Mhm.
in there.
Mhm.
And like I said, we'll talk about that in the juice. All right, so how do you feel like the acting was between the two main characters? And by two main characters, um, I mean the two love interests, like the main, love interest. Because here we kind of have a love triangle, right?
Mhm. Mhm. Absolutely. Well, as far as the actor between the two main characters, the
Mhm,
main love interest, I didn't feel like there was any chemistry.
mhm,
I didn't feel the chemistry between them. I
mhm,
like it felt really robotic to me. It felt
mhm,
really rehearsed. It felt
mhm,
really, really like this is our job. You know what I'm
mhm.
saying? And so yeah, but I didn't see the chemistry at all. I see where, at parts of the movie they were trying to interject that
Yeah,
into the movie, the chemistry, but even
yeah,
then it felt forced. It
yeah.
felt rehearsed. It felt like they were acting. So yeah, I really, really didn't feel the chemistry between those two. It was two other characters that I did, but the leading characters, no, I didn't
No.
feel the chemistry. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I will say that's kind of when I say the acting with one person, it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely with one of the main characters. And like I said, we'll talk about
Mm-hmm.
that more in the juice part of
Okay.
this section here. All right,
Okay.
so now that we talked about the chemistry, how was
Mm-hmm.
the pace of the movie for you? Did you feel like anything was dragging on? Do you feel like everything was timed correctly? How do you feel?
Um, let's see. The pace of the movie, within the first 7 minutes of the movie, hey, it was going. I knew exactly what the movie was going to be about. So they got right into it. They got right into the storyline, what it was going to be about. And I pretty much kind of figured, what it was going to be about within the first 7 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
the
I
pace
was
is really good.
Yeah, I will say I don't feel like they were dragging anything, out at all. Pretty much as far as the timelines, anything we had questions about, they pretty much answered. I felt like I don't do you feel like there was any plot holes or anything that they did not sum up in the movie?
Um, let's see. Yeah, the whole story about Devin, like how did he end up in foster care?
Mhm,
I don't remember them really, really diving into that and exactly what was foster care like for him.
Mhm.
I know, of course, they touched on a little bit, but they didn't really go into it. I would have liked to see like a flashback. You know how sometimes the movies do a flashback when he was
Mhm.
speaking about his foster father that was really into stones and gems or whatever. I would
Yeah.
have liked to see, like a flashback to his childhood or interaction, and put a name with, I mean, a face with the name that of his foster father. So I would have
Mhm.
liked to see that
Mhm.
and know more personally about Devin is instead of foster kid, trouble kid, and yeah. So I feel like that was a hole for me. That was a hole for me. Yeah.
And you know what? I want to come back and talk about this in the juice part because I want to know what could they have, because they only have a certain amount of time to film these movies, right?
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
want to know
Okay.
what could they have taken out of the movie in order to put that in the movie?
Girl, that lip singing.
You know, if Mr. Bob, is watching this, he's gonna be like, okay, well, what could I have taken out? What was not necessary, or what could I have left out in order to put that in the movie?
Yes.
So yeah, that's my question.
Yes,
For you.
Mr. Roger Bob, you could have left out the lip singing. We had two scenes of the lip singing. One of those scenes was enough for the movie, but we definitely could have left out that. We could have left out that. And I'm kind of getting into like this one character I really want to talk about, but another character in there. Her scenes, I was like, okay, we could have left that out too because it's so overdone. Yeah, it's so overdone. So yeah.
Okay, well, we'll discuss those scenes a little later on then.
Yes.
All right. So, what scene, if any, without giving the movie away, like what
Hmm.
scene stood out? And like if it's coffee shop, say coffee shop. If it's, church, say church, and then
Okay.
we'll talk about it more.
Okay. The scene for me,
Mhm.
and basically it was just the aesthetics of it.
Mhm.
For me, definitely was the ball, the dance, the holiday ball, the holiday dance. Yeah.
Mhm.
It was that scene there. Yeah.
Okay.
That was probably one of the best scenes for me. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll talk about that a little bit more
Okay.
in the juice section. All
Hmm.
right. So, do you think that they told the story that they were trying to tell?
Yeah, most definitely. They definitely told the story. It
Mhm.
was, but like going back to like you were saying, some holes in it. That's one of the things I forgot to point out. Another hole for me, I'm sorry, going back, but another hole for me was the relationship between Jade and her was supposed to be, significant other
Mhm.
initially. Yeah, like I really wanted to know more of their background and
Mhm.
their relationship and how they came about, how long they had been dating, exactly. And, and how, when did they meet? How did they meet? Did they meet in college? Did they meet at home? Or whatever. So yeah, that was a whole for me. But yeah, I really think that the movie, it was told, it was like I said, a little holes in the movie or whatever, but for the most part, they told the story and got the narrative that they wanted to get, yeah, across to the audience. Yeah.
Now, I will say, just going back to the scene that stood out for me, it
Hmm.
was the sales scene.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
And we'll talk about that more in the juice as well. All right. So,
Hmm.
do I feel like they told the story that they were trying to tell? Absolutely. I
Hmm.
felt like they answered, a lot of the questions or that,
Yeah.
you could have in the beginning.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
all right. Now, I feel like we've answered all of our preliminary questions now. So, are we ready to
Okay.
move to the juice part?
So the juice is squeeze.
So, so for those of you who have not seen Holiday Heist, log off now or click off of our video now.
Yes.
Go watch Holiday Heist on Tubi for free from your couch. Watch it, take notes, answer some of our questions that we've already asked, and then come back here, y'all, here, right here on
Here, right
YouTube.
here.
Chocolate Tomatoes Film. Watch the rest of our live and sound off in the comments what your thoughts are on this movie. To the juice
Yes.
spoilers
Into
part.
the juice.
All right, so let's talk about the elephant in the room. Devin or Preston? Devin or Preston? Devin or Preston? Are we team Devin or are we team Preston?
To be honest, neither one. Neither, yeah, girl, neither one.
Well, wait, before we go to neither one, you got to pick one, girl. Pick one. Who for Jade? Devin or Preston?
Well, I would say Preston. I mean, not Preston. Well, oof. Depending on, it's a lot of factors.
Look, can we merge them
Um,
together and make this one
I know,
perfect
right?
plan?
Build a man, like build a bear, like we definitely could build a man, between the two. But ultimately, who she would be the happiest with, I would say
Mhm.
Devin.
Yeah.
I would say Devin. Yeah. I would pick Preston for certain reasons, and then I would pick Devin, for
Mhm.
other reasons. Like you said, build a man. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But ultimately, the things that I would pick Preston for, she
Mhm.
can still have those things and obtain those things with Devin
With
over
Devin.
time. So that's why
Mhm.
overall I'll say Devin. I'll say Devin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's
Yeah.
hear let's hear why you would say Preston. Why would you
Okay.
say Preston?
The reason why I would say Preston because there is security with Preston. And not just because his character and he plays the cop, but there's definitely security with him. I
Mhm.
parts of the conversation that they had about marriage,
Mhm.
I love the security that he was offering her, as far
Mhm.
as saying, hey, you're my wife, I want you to, pretty much he was saying, I want you to have the soft life. He was offering her, the soft
Yes.
life or whatever. But let's be clear, the soft life is not for everyone. Everyone
Yeah.
doesn't want the soft life. And there's different definitions of the soft life for
Mhm.
everyone as well too. So,
Mhm.
but his definition, according to his character, he wanted her to pretty much be barefoot and pregnant. He wanted her to be at home, taking care of the kids, because he made a reference to, well, that's how my mom did it, whatever, and that's what I
Mhm.
want for my kids.
Mhm.
And basically telling her, not giving her the option, telling her, you can't work. I don't want you to work. I just want you to be a stay-at-home mom. So
Yeah.
like I said, that's why I'm on the fence with, he was offering her that soft life, but it wasn't her idea of a soft
Of a soft
life.
life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, but I mean, he was offering her, he was offering being a provider, being
Mhm.
a protector, being, offering security or whatever. So
Mhm.
I do like that, but it came with some conditions.
Yeah, I do agree with that. And just like what we're talking about with a perfect man, especially a husband, because that's what we're talking about here is husband material, right? You
Yes.
gotta have somebody that wants to protect you, wants to provide for you, right? So he checks
Yeah.
those two boxes. But the box he was lacking, y'all, I felt like was love. You know? Love.
Yes. Yes. It felt more of like control.
Hmm.
Like you're like, do what I say, like it was like, oh my gosh. But yeah,
Yeah.
it felt so sterile between the two, didn't it?
Yes.
And like I said, it felt like
Mhm.
robotic. It was just like, basically I felt like, okay, this is what we're supposed to do.
He didn't even to me really seem to care either, about it. Okay, well, I blew off our dinner plans, how about let's just chill at home. Like I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? And it's just
Absolutely.
like, how long has it been since y'all been out on a date? Because it seems like it's been a while. Like you can suck it up for a few, like just like you go to work and you suck up being tired and sleepy, you can suck it up for
Exactly.
an hour and sit here.
And I got a better question. Not only how long since they've been on a date, how long has it been in their relationship since she's had his undivided
Divided
attention?
attention. Exactly.
No interruptions. It's
Mhm.
all about her. It's all about you and I.
Mhm.
Like, when was the last time? And of course, like I say, he was a cop or whatever, but it was always like, it was almost like every scene they were in, he was always like near the door because, 'cause
Yes.
and it
He was always
didn't,
thinking about something else and
yeah,
not her.
exactly. It was almost like he was either coming in the door or leaving out the door. You know what I'm saying? But he was definitely, even in the scenes, he was near the door because, like, hey, I gotta go, or checking his phone. Like, I gotta go, I gotta go. And she's like literally all but begging him just for some QT, some quality time. And he was
That's
like,
what
well,
I'm saying. You know what's crazy though that you brought that up because I was going to bring this scene up too. Who in
mm,
their right mind goes and takes a phone call that doesn't really seem that important, and you leave your woman in the room as a cop now, as somebody that's supposed to kind of have their spidey senses going, you know what I'm saying, at all times? Who in their right mind would leave a woman who they're thinking about marrying in a room alone with a total stranger for that, for all intents and purposes, you know?
You know why? Because he feel like he got her. She ain't going nowhere. I got her. She ain't going nowhere. I could leave her in here with 100 Denzels, honey, and she, she ain't going nowhere. And don't get me wrong. That's a good. It could be a good and bad, thought process or characteristic to have in a relationship because you want a man to be confident. You want a man, but at the same time, don't take me for granted. Especially
Yeah.
like everything is not copacetic between us. And she expressed that. I need more time. I need this, and
Mhm.
you're not holding up your end of the bargain. You're not giving her, what she is desiring and what she needs. So
Mhm.
yeah, you might would have been like, I'll call him back. Yeah. So I agree. And he did. And let's be clear, from the very beginning of the movie,
Mhm.
Devin, by his facial expressions, body language, the energy he was giving off, he made it known, even when Preston was around, that he was interested in her. He made it
Okay.
known. Yeah, he made it known. So you know that man checking your woman out, and you gonna leave? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Like, really?
yes, yes.
Now, okay, so y'all, we need to keep a score tally, right? So I'm gonna pop this up on the screen real quick. All right, so that's 2 points for Devin. I mean, not Devin, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry, 2 points for Preston. So now let's get over to Devin and find out how many points he scored from the board for as far as a future husband, right? So do we have,
Okay.
wait, before we do that, do we have anything else to add to the category? So we have protect, provide, love. Do we have anything else to build this perfect man?
Um,
Husband.
I mean, he wasn't bad looking.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Okay. All
I
right. So
mean, he
attractive,
was easy on the
attractive.
eyes, as they say. So he wasn't,
Okay.
he wasn't bad looking. So yeah, I guess we can add
Okay.
that.
So they have to be easy on the eyes or
Oh,
attractive.
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So he checks 3 out of the 4 boxes then.
There
All
we
right.
go. Mhm.
All right. So Preston checks 3 out of the 4 boxes, y'all. So Preston has 3 points. All right.
Mhm.
So let's move over to Mr. Devin, shall we?
Okay.
All right. So Devin, as far as points, let's see how many points Devin racks up, right?
Okay.
So, how do you feel about Mr. Devin? Why would you choose Devin?
I would choose Devin because Devin seems to be, as far as relationship wise, more emotionally mature. He
Mm,
meaning he's in tune with his feelings. He knows what he wants. He's not scared to be vulnerable. He's not scared to show and tell her exactly how he feels, about her. Um and I just feel like, he was emotionally, he was, more there for her. And of course he definitely prioritized her, which Preston did not do. Yeah, okay. Preston did not do, but yeah, Devin definitely prioritized, and not just prioritized her. He prioritized things that he felt that was important to her as
mm,
well, like her family, like her family, the store, the relationship that he had with her dad. So, which, the move, that's what it was about. It was very, her family was very, very important, to her. And I would also pick Devin because if I had to choose between the two, between Devin and Preston, Devin was the better looking, because yeah, yeah, Devin, both of them, both gentlemen are, both men are handsome. Don't get me, brother, but for my personal preference, I would have definitely, picked Devin. And also, Devin's character had a more realistic trait to him. I love, like I said, that's why I said I wish I would have, we would have heard more about his story or whatever. I don't love the fact that he was in foster care, of course, but I love the fact that, he valued family due to his childhood,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So he really valued family, and he really wanted to build a family, and he wanted to make sure that not only he was happy in the relationship, because that's what I felt like Preston was doing. It was all about me, 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 me. He wanted to really make sure that, not only himself, but his wife, his future and potential wife and kids would be happy as well. So those are the reasons why, like I said, so good looking. Tall, dark, and handsome. Good looking. He was in tune with his emotions. He was not scared to express, his emotions, and he was vulnerable, and he was also in tune with her, and he prioritized her as well. So yeah.
Yes, I will say, as far as Devin, where he hits all of the points, like you said, definitely in the looks department. Okay, that's
Hmm.
one
Hmm.
point, right? And
Hmm.
then as far as protecting, do you felt like he protected or will protect Jade? Do you feel like that sense of security there?
Um, I feel like, it didn't talk about this or show this in the movie, but I feel like, if it was real life, I feel like once they, were official,
Mhm.
yeah, but, it's almost like, he had one foot in this life and one foot, in the other life. And, but he was more transitioning to, wanted to get out of the street life, that thug life and all that stuff, and really grow up and have a home and have a wife and have, kids or whatever. So I feel like he was in the season of his life where he was pivoting, and
Yeah.
he was transitioning to being that, like we say, adulting, and being
Mhm.
that grown up and that grown man and ready for that responsibility. So I think it would have came,
Mhm.
but with Devin, it did come throughout the friendship that they had, because he protected her brother, and he wanted to tell, he tried to tell her, remember, at the ball, and
Yeah.
then everything got interrupted. So that was a form and an act of, protecting or whatever. But at the
Mhm.
same time, that's like I said, that's what was that foot still, in the streets and in that thug life or whatever. So I think yeah, he showed it a little bit. He showed his potential in the friendship. But I think once they become official and everything, absolutely. And then that means Devin got a little hood in him,
But I was gonna, you so silly. But I was gonna say the fact that he had that street life means he's street smart. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly,
He knows how to
exactly.
navigate in
Yeah,
and out of the street life. Because
there you go.
before all it took for him to think of how to get the Russians involved to get his
Mm.
big enemy out of the way. You know what I'm saying? To get
Yes,
Poncho out of the way.
yes.
You know what I'm
He's
saying?
smart. Yeah, his character
Yeah,
was very, very smart. Very
yeah.
smart. Yeah.
So I felt like in the provider category, I would give him points there. So how do you
Okay.
feel? Would you give him points in the provider category?
I would, wait a minute, say that again. What you give him points
So
for a provider as far as?
remember, we're building the perfect man, right? And
Hmm.
we're comparing the two men, right? Because
Okay.
at the beginning, we're like, I don't know who she should have ended up with, at the end of the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
So whoever gets the most points based off of our breakdown or analysis of these two men is probably who she
Mhm.
should have ended up with, right? I
Yeah.
know we're saying Devin because he paid the most attention to her,
Hmm.
but really she's looking for a husband, y'all. So
Yeah.
we're trying to help Jade figure out who was really husband material. Did she make a mistake by letting, Mr. Preston go, or did she do right, and keep Devin around? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
So
don't think she made a mistake with letting Preston go at all, because you could tell her heart was in there. Her
I don't
heart was
think
not in it. Yeah.
I don't think so either. But should she have left both men alone and totally started over? You know what I'm saying?
That's a good
That's a
question.
because how many of these boxes are these men checking off? Right now, Mr. Preston is in the lead. He's
Yes.
got 3 of the 4 boxes checked off. So as of right now, when we look at Mr. Devin, he has 1 box checked off. So now we're
Mhm.
at the provider box. So are we checking him off for I mean not provider, I'm sorry, protector. Are we checking him off as far as being a protector for Jade?
Oh yeah, for a protector, absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely, a
good point
protector.
there.
I'll check that box off. Now, as far
Mhm.
as provider, that's why I said that was these. This is one of the holes in the story for me.
Yeah.
Because my thing is, Devin, what is your expertise? You know what I'm saying? The only job that was mentioned, there were 2 jobs that was mentioned that he had, in the movie, was he was pretty much, this street kid, a hustler, or or that robbed or whatever for punch or whatever. And
Mhm.
then, he started working, remember, part time. at the store, at the jewelry store. So I'm like, okay, as far as providing, like, cause if we get married and talking about having babies and kids, you can't be about that life. You can't be out there thugging it. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
hustling up on you. You can't be working for punch. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is, but as far as the family business or whatever, I could see him coming in and taking it to the next
Thinking,
level.
yeah.
Yeah, taking it to the next level and really, growing the business as well. So
Mhm.
initially being a provider, like what he coming to the table with right off, I think we'll, Jay would have had to, yeah, to work at that. But the thing about it is though, I think Devin would have been open to it. He would
Yes.
have, unlike
But you
Preston.
know
Preston
what?
was like, nope, this,
But you know
and
what
that's it.
though?
Yeah.
By the end of the movie, Devin was kind of poised to take over, the family business when the dad doesn't want to. Because remember, Jay didn't have any interest. Jay wants to go to fashion school, low key. She wants to design
Yes.
these dresses and amongst, other things that she wants to design. So there's that hole there. And it doesn't seem like the brother wants to take over the family business either, because remember, Jay was like, oh, he needs to go off to college. He needs to do this, that, and
Yes,
the third.
yes. That's why
So
she needs that financial security because she needs to go,
exactly.
especially while she's chasing her dreams. She need a man to hold it down at the house,
Mhm.
paying bills or whatever, being a provider. And right off the bat, that wasn't Devin. Not
Exactly.
something that was secure. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, yeah, he was in the streets or whatever, but we all know where that leads to. So yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah, as
So
far as
yeah.
the provider category, I'm sorry, Devin, but we're not going to give you any points in the
I
provider
know,
category.
right?
But he does have potential, so we'll
Yeah.
keep an open mind to that.
Yeah, we'll
All
keep
right,
open mind. Yeah.
all right. And as far as the last category, right?
hmm
Love. Where do we find? Does he get points in the love department?
Devin, top tier. Top tier as far as love, because like I said, from the very first scene of the movie, you could, yeah, he gave the facial expression, the body language, the energy that he was definitely into her. He was definitely into her. And you know what else? Let's talk about this too. The love, you could definitely see the interest, and throughout the movie, the love grows for Jade. But let's talk about not only just for Jade. I feel like Devin also had a love and an infatuation for her family, the
hmm
family that he never had. The fact, even though the mom had some, but with her dad and her brother and their family Christmas traditions and stuff that he never had. So I think Jade for him was the complete and total package. For Devin, it was like jackpot for him. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? It was definitely like,
absolutely.
oh yeah, it was definitely like hitting the lottery for him as far as family wise. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay,
Mhm.
so it sounds like the fellas are 3-3, right?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So now that they are tied up, right?
hmm
Based on what we said they have potential for, right? So Preston, I got to make sure I keep the men separate, right? So
Yeah.
Preston lost points in the love category, right? Does he
Yes.
have the potential to grow to where we feel like Devin is in the love category, or even beyond that, to make him the total package?
I'm going to say initially no.
I'm
Then I'm
gonna
gonna
say
say yeah, I'm gonna say no, but then I would say yes. But the only reason why it would be a yes on his end is because I could, foresee, we're just based off the characters. Jay, they're married with kids and this and that, and years down the road, I feel like Jay will ultimately have to give him an ultimatum and be like, look, you're gonna spend time with me, you're gonna love me, or I'm out. And then think about it. What woman wants to do that, to have to do that, like give this man an ultimatum to love me correctly and love me. So that's why I initially said no to Preston. I'm trying to hit at Preston because I feel like ultimately she wouldn't have been happy. She wouldn't have she would have always had some type of resentment towards him because I think with him she would have never been able to chase her dreams and never been able, to be ambitious. She would have only been allowed to be able to be what he wanted and needed her to be.
And you know what I will say with that, or just adding on to that?
hmm
Um, just like with the priorities that we said he has, if they have
Mhm.
children, she gonna move past the children. I feel like she gonna move down to the bottom of the list because I feel
Yep.
like he won't care about the kids more than he cares
Exactly.
about her.
Exactly.
Especially if
Exactly.
he's basing it off of how he grew up. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And I feel like Preston was the type, his character, Preston was the type. As soon as they got married and had some kids, and as soon as he started seeing that she was getting her footing and trying to, step into who she was, he would have got her pregnant again, trying to keep her, you know what I'm saying? trying to keep her barefoot and pregnant. And then too, her being totally dependent upon him financially. Oh, honey. Yeah. Yeah. That's what the controlling comes in at. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I feel like he would have used some of those little sneaky tactics, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying, to kind of like keep her under his thumb. And who wants to live like that? So
Yeah, he
that's
wants
what
to
I
live
said.
like
Like,
that.
yeah, ultimately, I don't think she would have been her authentic self,
Hmm.
and she would have been happy, overall with Preston.
Overall.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about Devin now, right? So we
Hmm.
said that he lacked in the provider department, right? Do we feel
Yeah.
like Devin has the potential in the future to be a good provider for Jade?
Oh, absolutely. And this
Mhm.
is where Devin and Preston differs. And this is why my mind, Devin takes, he wins out over Preston. Because with Preston, did he have the potential to soften up and, like, okay, let me put myself and my career on the back burner to support my wife and her, chase her dreams? Absolutely not. He was like this. Devin, he has the potential, and he came in the door with that. He was literally like, he was not initially as far as telling why he was really there, but like an open book, to be whatever he felt like she needed for him to be. Preston was not open to that, but Devin definitely was, and he definitely had the potential to be an excellent provider. Because let's talk about this. When have you ever seen a man sweet talk another man into buying some jewelry? You know what I'm saying?
So,
You remember at the very beginning? Like when I
yes,
tell
that's why I said
you,
that jewelry scene.
yes, when I tell you he was so charismatic, like he was charismatic. He charmed another man into buying a ring for his right. Like, okay,
Look,
that,
look, the R&B, like, oh, shit,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, go back to
right.
look, I
Exactly.
used to be in a
So
jewelry store too, trying to figure out what, you know.
exactly. So yeah, and we're talking about like major purchases. So he
Yeah.
definitely had a salesman spirit. He definitely had that
Mhm.
niche and that knowledge. That's why I say I feel like if they were to get together, he would take it to the next level. Their business. You know what? They need to do a holiday heist too. That's what need. I'm serious. They need to do a
You
holiday
know,
heist too.
you know what? I'm gonna tell you why I don't think they need to do a second one, but
Mhm.
we're gonna finish up the husband category.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
All right. Well, they can do a second one, but under one condition. I'll tell you why in a minute. All
Okay.
right.
Okay.
So Devin, just wrapping him up from
Mm.
my perspective, Devin, I do feel like he has the potential to be a good provider, especially if he takes over the family business or if he decides to work for another jewelry store or what have you, right? The
Mhm.
plan is, or from what it looks like, he's going to take over the family business. He's going
Mhm.
to be
Mhm.
with Jade, marry her, all that. But another thing I looked at as well is that he will also give her the soft life, but the soft life she wants to where she's able to go and do the things that she loves to do and
Mhm.
capitalize on those things. He's okay with her being a dressmaker. He's okay with her going back to
Absolutely.
school. He's okay with whatever decisions that she wants to make, and he's there to support her. And I feel like that's the difference between the two men. And that's why, in my opinion, Devin would win out in that category of, who she should be with. So I
Yeah.
guess
Go
ultimately,
deep. Go
go
deep.
Dean.
I know, go deep.
I guess ultimately, ladies, from our opinion, I guess Kim, is it safe to say that Devin would make the perfect husband eventually?
I
Because
think Devin would make the Devin would make
Devin
the perfect husband. And
would.
that's the one she will overall be the happiest and most
Absolutely,
fulfilled with. Absolutely. Absolutely.
absolutely.
Devin is definitely the better pick out of the two.
I
Yeah.
think so too.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, so let's move on to the part where we talked about why this movie is a maybe a semi-sweet watch versus a sweet watch.
Mm-hmm.
Because this will
Okay.
this will tie into why I think they can only make the Holiday Heist 2 based on one condition. All right, so let me hear
Okay.
your opinion first.
Okay, well, the semi-sweet for me. Let me start off with the sweets. Some more of the sweets. The
Mhm.
sweets for me, because I look at everything. Not just the storyline in the movie. I look at the aesthetics of the movie and this and that. One of the sweets for me, with it being a all black cast for the most part, was I love the fact that they did black women with their natural hair. I love that. I feel like for the most part, as far as our look, we were represented very, very well. They stayed true to the nature and to the fabulousness of black women or whatever. So that was definitely, one of the things that I love to see. Um and also the wardrobe. The wardrobe was, really nice, as far as costumes and everything. Everybody pretty much was really, really good. You didn't see nothing crazy and nothing, nothing all funky or whatever. With anybody like hairline or bad wigs or bad, clothing, like where they going? Yeah, so that I can appreciate. Now, as far as the semi-suite, the main thing, remember earlier I was saying, the one character was a female. I feel like it's been overdone. It was her friend. Okay, let me get on my soapbox for a minute when it comes to black movies. Okay, this is my thing with black. Love to see the all black cast. Love the black directors, writers, all that good stuff. But what if I made requests that we stop doing? Why do we always with movies like this, where it's a love interest, pretty much like a rom-com or whatever, it's always that one black woman, like she's so hard up for a man. Like, ooh, who is this? Ooh, who is that? Ooh, he fine, girlfriend. Like she's always chasing after this man, and they over sexualize her. Every time a man come around, she just like, ooh, and that I do not like, like she's chasing the man, and then how it always happened. She don't even get the man that she chasing and eyeballing and ooh and all. It always go to her friend. The guy always go to her friend, but she just,
Yeah.
just like that. I'm like, can we stop doing that? Like over sexualizing her and this and that. And then too, what I noticed it always tends to be a more of a fuller figured black woman that they get to play that character.
It's interesting that you bring that up too, because
Mhm.
I feel like they put that in there because they feel like it's funny. You know what I'm saying? Because you need that
Mhm.
comedic relief in the movie, and they feel like that's their way of getting laughs out of the movie, right? And I feel like women are not that way in real life. We're really not that way in real life. It's not really realistic. Or black
It's
women,
not
shall
at
I
all.
say, are not
Exactly.
that way. We may talk just a little bit, but we're not always, oh my God, this, that, and the third. So it's really, like you said, over exaggerated. But with that being said, what could they put in there that would be funny that is not, a sexualization of black women?
What they it's a ton of things you can laugh at and make light of. They could have put something in there as far as like maybe Devin came with a friend or whatever, and the friend was his homeboy was chasing her and she was playing hard to get, but but to the audience we know she really liked him, and she was just saying, and it was kind of like kind of like Tom and Jerry, the cat chasing the mouse or whatever. That could have been, yeah, that could have been lighthearted and that could have been fun. And, to see that, develop or whatever. Or how about her just supporting her friend? Her just saying, hey, girl, I think this guy is the one for you. I think this is a good match, a good, this and that. And her just, trying to play Cupid and trying to, convince her friend, like, girl, get this man. You can, make light of that and lighten that up. And that's a comedic relief in the movie. But as far as that, if that's what they're thinking, and of course we're speculating that that's the comedic relief in the movie. Oh no, honey. That for in my opinion, let me say that. In my opinion, it's not funny. It's so overdone. It's
Mhm.
so played out, and it's so not true, to the black, to the black woman, that's not, that's not
Yeah.
a part of our character and who we are, the women that I know anyway, just like, ooh, every time he came around, she, ooh, like a whole hot and bothered and this and
Yeah.
that. Mm-mm.
And then she
Yeah.
sensed that her friend liked this man. So why would you continue to look at him or like quote unquote make passes at this man at this point, you know?
Exactly. I don't even get at the semi-sweet, that portion of that part of the movie. What's the next one? The dark chocolate.
The bitter.
I'm sorry, the bitter. Yeah, which is dark chocolate. The bitter. I'll give that part of the movie bitter. Yeah, because I'm bitter, and baby, I'm over it. Like I said, I'm really big into aesthetics and everything making sense. Okay, at the end of the movie, when the whole family get up and go find Devin or whatever, and they find him at pretty much their little first date at the ice skating rink. Baby, it is December 25th, Chicago, at an ice skating rink, and all y'all out here in pajamas. Baby, it's too cold. Y'all are not out here in no doggone pajamas in Chicago in December standing on ice.
Mhm.
Like that should have been a little bit more realistic for me. As far as the storyline and everything, that definitely should have been a little bit more realistic. That just didn't make sense to
As
me.
far as a sweet watch for me for the movie, I love the fact that they delved into Black fashion history. A lot of the facts that they put in, about the first woman designer who, I mean, the lady that designed, he's so
Come
sick.
on, give us a Black History lesson,
Okay,
Roger. I mean, not Roger, Bob. Angela, Miss
okay,
Angela Murray. Yes, I
okay.
love that. You are so right. Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
Mhm.
The way they
Yes.
talked about Anne Lowe in the movie, I mean,
Mhm.
just beautiful the way that they put Black fashion history in there. And I'm gonna pop this up on the screen, y'all. I don't know if this is a real book or not, but I want this book, this Black fashion history book that they had that he gave her
Okay.
at the end of the movie. I want that book.
Yes. Yes. That
I
book. Yeah.
want that book.
And I love and to kind of piggyback off what you said. Absolutely. I love the tribute that they gave to Black women in this movie.
Yes.
And look, Angela, you did your thing, girl, with that. You did your thing. You did your thing. Yeah. With the tribute and giving Black women in fashion, their flowers. And not only giving them their flowers, opening, the door to, the rest of the world as far as the Black women that were in fashion, because she went all the way back to like Kennedy
Yeah.
or whatever. A lot of people, a lot of the people in the world don't
Don't
know,
know that. Yeah.
that Black women have been like the powerhouse in fashion,
Yeah.
and in history. And in history,
Yeah.
like these outfits are in museums and in,
Like
you know what I'm saying?
like the
Yeah.
Playboy bunny costume was designed. The first one was
Exactly.
designed by a
Yes.
Black woman. So
By a Black
the
woman.
one
Okay,
that
girl.
everybody knows with the bunny ears and all of
With
that,
the
that was
bunny
a
ears and
Black
the tail.
woman.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. So yeah, that Miss Angela, you did your thing
I
in
will
that.
say, it was one thing in this movie that really kind of tanked my like I said, this is why I felt it could have been a semi-sweet watch.
Mm.
And that is the acting. The acting in particular of the main girl. I felt like she was, and I know her character was supposed to be a little dry, but I felt like there was no warmness there when she was supposed to be warm. I felt like she needs a little bit more coaching or a little bit more help in the acting department. Especially with her being a main character. If your main character is dry, that kind of tanks your whole movie. Like
Absolutely.
I'm thinking that if he had someone to like
Look,
Tobias, I know, right? Tobias, in
yeah, a
my
little bit more
opinion,
oomph. Yeah.
Tobias, in my opinion, he did really well in the movie, right? He's a pretty seasoned actor. And
Hmm.
I felt like when he was on the screen, like you said, he charmed us, he did, all the points that he needed to make. I even felt
Hmm.
like Preston, he wasn't on the screen much, but when he was there, you knew he was there. I felt like he did, his acting. He was in his acting bag as far as, being on the screen. But I just felt like the
Yeah.
main girl, she just needs a little bit of help. She was a little dry for me.
Yeah.
And
And
that's why I
yeah.
feel like they shouldn't make a part two unless they change her out. But I'm one
Or
of those,
she get coached. Like you said, she
or
get
she
coached
gets
and she
coached.
gets
She
better.
gets
Because I've
coaching.
never seen her in anything else. Maybe this
Me
is her
neither.
acting debut. And
Mhm.
maybe this is her first time. And like you said, going back to what you said too about Tobias, about Devin, he's a pretty seasoned actor. But honestly, in this movie, I would say, like you said, it was like not his best. But I feel like he was just feeding off the energy of his what is it, actor or whatever, that was in the movie, the lead actress. And I felt like he was maybe trying to pull it out of her, but she just wasn't gravitating to it or whatever. So I felt like that kind of, led him to be like, well, okay, I get I'm gonna just work with what I got. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I totally, totally agree. I think if this is her very first major acting gig, I think she did okay. It's almost like you could tell the nerves were there. You know what I'm saying? Nervous about doing a good job and wanting to do a good job. But yeah, I definitely, definitely think that she can benefit from watching the movie back herself and a little bit of coaching. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she definitely needs some coaching, I will
Yeah.
say. It's hard to like a movie when the main character isn't that likable, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, she's already got a few characteristics, Jade, about her that you're like, I don't know, like she's so
Yeah.
indecisive. It seems like, she stringing homeboy along, then she wants to boss around everybody, so
Yeah.
it's all these characteristics about just the character, not the actress herself, but just the character, that
Yeah.
has you like, I don't know about this girl, but then you come on top of that with actress who needs a little bit more
Yeah.
coaching. It makes the
Yeah.
character not as likable, and I felt like if she was more loving or a little bit more
Mhm.
warmer in the parts that she should have been, I felt like it would have made for a better movie, in my opinion.
Absolutely, because the one scene with Jade that really, really irritated me, girl, it irritated. It might not be significant to anybody else, but like I said, I look at all things. When they were in there she was trying to decorate the tree, and that fake fall, and I was like, girl, like you're supposed to be gazing into his eyes and feeling his muscles and like, ooh, you know what I'm saying? That was the time to be all woo. You see what I'm saying? But she was just like, it was like, yeah, I was so irritated by this scene. I was like, girl, this man, this big, tall, handsome, strapping man just didn't saved you. You know what I'm saying? Like you're supposed to be, giving that, and he gave the energy. She didn't give it back. Yeah.
Speaking of handsome men, I will say that a lot of these movies where they have a love triangle,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so we'll say the man she's been dating beforehand, like the constant man,
Mm-hmm.
is always not as cute as the dude who's supposed to be like the new love interest, right?
Exactly.
And
Mm-hmm.
I love this movie because both men are equally as attractive, right? So you're like,
Mm-hmm.
"Ooh, I don't know,
Okay,
I don't
now
know,
who
I
would
don't
you
know."
play?
And I love that part about the movie, that I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of these other movies that have love interests like that or a love triangle like that need to take note of, because a lot of movies that I see, the constant man is not even as remotely as attractive as the new
At
babe
all. At
in
all.
this movie. As far as the secondary characters, you don't expect them to be, appealing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
and that's why I'm not attacking them as much,
Yeah.
because they're secondary characters. But if I'm gonna be looking
Absolutely.
at this character 90% of the time on the screen, they gotta be decent. Well, Chalet Rose,
Mm-hmm.
just with her being on the screen 90% of the time, I'm expecting someone who is a good
More
actor,
seasoned, a
more
little more
seasoned.
seasoned. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
And
everybody got to start somewhere.
yeah,
So
and
yeah, yeah,
if this was her start, I thought she, did okay for her start, but I feel like she really needs to get some more coaching, especially if they're going to give us a Holiday Heist Part 2, which
yeah,
I wouldn't mind seeing, where their story goes. But again, if they switch out her or if they give her some more coaching, then I would be
hmm
okay with a part 2. So, audience, with that being said, let us know down below in the comments. Do you think that they should do a Holiday Heist Part 2? And if you do say yes, why? Or if you say no, why not? So let us know down below in the comments.
down below. Okay, well, can I give my why of
Yeah.
yes? I would like to see a part two
Oh,
of Holiday
absolutely.
Heist. I would like because the story can go on. Does she choose Preston or does she choose Devin? How is life with Devin? How is life with Preston? Did the family business survive? What happened with RJ? Did Robert Senior, and I can't remember the character name, but the lady that kept baking the cookies, did they get together?
Yes, yes.
Yes,
I wanted to
yeah.
talk about that too. Camille. Camille.
Camille, that's her name, Camille.
Uh-huh.
And I like the contrast that the writer, Miss Angela Murray, did with Camille and with like Jade and her, like I can't remember her name, but her best friend. It was
Mhm.
almost like old school and new school when it comes
Ra-
to dating. You
Raquel.
know,
Uh-huh. Her
yeah,
friend
Raquel,
Raquel.
that's it, Raquel. Yeah, it was almost like old school and new school when it came to dating. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like in the new school, it was like, yeah, okay, yeah, let me see what you about, this, that, blah, 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 blah. But like old school, look, Miss Camille, baby, she was working them cookies one day. She
Okay.
had opened up the cookie jar,
She
okay?
gonna cook her way to that man's stuff, heart. Okay.
Okay.
She gonna get to that man's
I said,
stomach.
come on, Miss Camille. Yeah, she was gonna cook her way, honey. The lid was off the cookie jar. Okay. She was gonna make sure she looked and you see at the end, honey, she danced her way right onto that table. She baked her way right on. Look, they look eating right, right onto that table.
Well,
She,
she picked Devin at the end of the movie because they're all eating at the table at the end of the movie when the credits roll.
yeah, but
Uh-huh.
does Preston know that?
Mm.
You
Mm-hmm.
see what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
Preston might be like, no, I've invested a lot into this woman. I'm gonna fight for my woman.
Yeah,
No,
he
girl,
did come
you
back
see,
to fight for her in part
you,
two.
you see what I'm saying? And make that
Mhm.
complicated, and make
Mhm.
and make all that complicated. And then
Mhm.
like the question of RJ, is RJ for the streets now, or did he go off to college? You know what I'm saying? It's so many.
Not for the streets.
Yeah, but for the street, because he was trying to be in the streets. But did Miss Camille and Robert Senior get together? You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? It's so many, and then too, for that reason alone, I would love, and I will cast her again for the lead role, Miss Rose, because hopefully and prayerfully, I would love to see her growth as an actor. Or actress, I'm sorry, as an actress. I would love to see her growth, as an actress and see, okay, because it seemed like that was her first rodeo. You know what I'm saying? So to see her growth and to see, her put in that work or whatever, and for her to literally like shine, because she has all the potential in the world. I just felt like she kind of like froze up and was really, really nervous, throughout the movie a lot. So I would love to see a Holiday Heist 2 to answer a lot of the questions and to see her growth. Yeah.
You're so sweet. That's what I'm gonna say. You're so sweet. To talk about her dad much, right? So he seems to
Mhm.
be a main player in this movie. How do we feel about parents moving on, especially when either they've gotten a divorce or the other parent has passed? Because it seems like she kind of had a little bit of reservations about, her dad moving on with Miss Camille. So how do we feel about that?
Ashley, that's a good question. That's a really good question. I'm thinking, it's just based off of, her the narrative and the storyline of them. I mean, you got to look at her dad. He's handsome. He's a nice looking older gentleman. He's handsome. He owns a jewelry store. He owns this business. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so some women might be like, oh, okay, I'm chasing a bag. So I can understand her reservations. And then of course she loves her mom. She loves her mom and she's protective of her mom. And she don't want no woman coming in trying to think she gonna replace her mama and play mama to her. Like, no. So I get all, and then she's protective of her dad too. It's like, girl, you ain't finna come in here and try to, play in my daddy face and take all his money and take my three inheritance. Okay, you know what I'm saying? And all that. So yeah, I can understand her being a little bit reserved, in the very beginning, just kind of having like a watchful eye of all that, and like, let me side out, let me check her out, let me see if she the real deal, let me see, So I get it, but at the same time, I also get her not wanting her dad to be alone. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Her not wanting her dad to be alone. Her, wanting her dad to have, have someone to spend his life with as well. But yeah, I can see both sides of it. I definitely get it, and I feel like Jay did right. Like, yeah, let me see how many cookies you gonna bake, and let me see. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like put her through the ringer, put Miss Camille through the ringer at first, girl, and make sure she legit and she is a right fit for your dad. And that's what
Yeah.
it seems like at the movie. That's exactly what she did, and yeah, Miss Camille was, and she to Miss Camille, she was beautiful, wasn't she? Was
She
she
was.
beautiful?
She was very
Yeah, older
beautiful.
black woman, she
Nice
was
smile.
absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, beautiful smile, beautiful skin. I loved her hair, natural, everything. She was, and just seemed like she probably, when now that I think about it, she's probably the one that probably shined the most in her character. She's the one that seemed the most genuine and authentic. Because
Yeah.
everybody know a black woman like Miss Camille. Just soft-hearted and soft-spoken and sweet and just, you know what I'm saying, give you the good mama hugs, always cooking and baking something. So she's the most realistic character in the movie,
Yeah,
now
she
that I think
is.
about it. She
She
is,
is.
yeah.
Like you were saying, just get a good look at whoever is trying to ingratiate themselves in your family, especially when, um, you know, they want to ingratiate themselves a little bit more than friends. They're interested in, you know, somebody that close to you, in the family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, just be mindful of how, you would want to be treated if you were in that situation as well.
Exactly, exactly.
All right, so we are wrapping up our holiday heist review today. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Cousin Kim, for
Thank you
joining
for
us
having
again.
me.
We got to get you back on here another day, girl.
I know. I would love to come back. I would love to come back. I really, really enjoy all the movie suggestions, and I enjoy the reviews. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, audience, if you tune in, we will have another segment as well where we are reviewing Hope Street Holiday, y'all. And Corey will be back on Sunday, y'all. To review Hope Street Holiday. So if you all want to tune into that one is on Tubi as well. So join us back again here, and we will see you all later.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Bye.